Hello, hello. Happy New Year's, everybody.
Happy New Year. Hi. I love the New Year.
Yeah.
You love New Year's? I love it because I feel like there's like a refresh. Anyway, this is Cassie and this is Tracy, in case you didn't know. But I just wanted to jump on the whole New Year thing because it feels like a total refresh for me. I feel like I don't know. Once the New Year hits, I get so much energy. How do you act with the New Year?
I feel like the new year for me has it's been good, but there's been a little bit of a rough and tumble, but for the most part, there's still a lot of really good things happening, and yeah.
So good. I feel like some of 2022 kind of rolled into the first week of January because there was still some funky energy, but I don't know. I'm feeling good this week. Feel much better today. I feel energized and ready. So
that I agree with.
Today was a good day.
Today was like, all the good energy just came in, and it's like, oh, okay.
Exactly. We're getting motivated. We're getting all that fun stuff, you know? So we can do our shameless plug if you want to.
Ooh, shameless plug.
Shameless plug first. So our shameless plug segment. Go, Cassie, go.
So I am Cassie Clayton with Stargazers Unite. I do websites, logos, and brand materials for all spiritual business owners. As one thing that I want to kind of particularly take note of is I do have a monthly subscription on graphics. So if anybody is needing kind of like those a couple of regular graphics every month, that's something that is available, and it's kind of a fun way to get some good stuff out there.
Yeah, I use her all the time. She does all of my graphics. Hello, everybody on Facebook and YouTube. Everybody's starting to come in. Hello, everybody on TikTok. So you're joining the Metaphysical Happy Hour. We're chit-chatting right now because we're going to do a shameless plug for me next. Are you done?
Yes, we're ready.
All right, so I have a couple. So I know you guys know, but I got to say it again. So my book came out in September. You could be a medium, and it is now on Amazon. And yeah, or you can actually get it on my website too, and I'll sign it for you and send it to you. Also on my website, you can get a copy of my card deck. That's out there. Yeah, I'm telling you, with the new year, new energy. I got a couple of classes coming up, and I have a mentorship starting. So it's been a whole year, maybe even 2 years since I've done mentorships. So
yeah, I know some people who are already interested in signing up for that. So
yeah, I know it's been a minute. So I do offer a 12-week one-on-one mentorship. You actually take on like 5 or 6 students. What do you get from that? You get a video every week of teachings. You get homework. I grade the homework. I give you feedback. We have like 5 calls during that time where you get one-on-one training with me. You get to be part of a Facebook group with other students who have done this. And then there's also another Facebook group I have with all volunteers. So if you're looking for people to practice with. So come join me for my 12-week mentorship. And that starts on, I think it starts February 4th. Ooh, that's fast. It's coming up.
It is coming up.
February 4th, and it's 12 weeks long. So you have to commit. But yeah, so if you're looking forward to that or you're wanting to grow your own spiritual gifts, please allow me to walk that journey with you. And then if you are in the DFW area, I am actually doing an in-person event February 4th and 5th. So February 4th, I'm doing a book signing at Miracles of Joy in Louisville. And then on February 5th, we're doing a workshop. You can be a medium. So anytime for beginners and intermediate, come play. Let's try to talk to some spirit. So that's kind of everything that I have going on. That's my shameless plug. You can find all this stuff on my website. But let's get to what we're supposed to be getting to. Who do we have today?
Today we have Angel Dawn. She is an evidential psychic medium, and she actually is somebody that you know from all the things you do.
Yay, I did. And I didn't know I knew her until I got on this afternoon. I was like, whoa, I know you.
So welcome, Angel Dawn, to the show, and we are so glad to have you here.
Pleasure to be here. Yes, also want to add that I'm a psychic astrologer as well, besides being an evidential psychic medium.
Yes, we're going to talk about the astrology part too. That fascinates me so much. Angel, where are you based out of?
I'm based out of Los Angeles.
Nice. I have lots of friends in Los Angeles. That's where we met, actually, in Los Angeles. Oh,
Yeah, and we're dealing with a torrent of bad weather and
Are you?
flooding, and you've heard about that in the news. So it's been quite scary actually for the
Flooding.
last week or so. But it's
Yeah.
good because we need all this water in
Yeah.
this like drought-stricken part of the U.S. So
I think the
yeah,
weather's just been so weird. Have you heard Texas? 80 degrees in Texas?
right now,
Yes.
wow,
In January. Like, I don't know. It's just the weirdest thing. Yeah. And then in Florida, I went to Florida for New Year's and it was like 50. It was freezing cold. I just think
yeah.
the whole global warming
Yeah, I heard
thing.
about that from a friend. And she said it
Did
was
you?
extremely, extremely cold. So
Mm-hmm.
everything's just out of whack right now.
Really out of whack. Maybe that's why you felt so energetically weird, because I know I did. So I know we're coming into this new year. We're coming into this week. We all feel good today.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you, we have people from Facebook, we have people from YouTube, and we have people on TikTok. And I'm just going to address them really quick. If you have a question for Angel, please let us know. Put it in the comments and we will ask her as we go through everything. But in the meantime, Angel, why don't you tell us about your journey? What led you to the woo-woo world? Go, I'm going to pass it on over to you.
Okay, so I first got interested in this world actually through astrology. I had been, it was through different people who I had met who were interested in astrology themselves. And I wasn't at that point really immersed into that world itself. I mean, I remember living, actually, this was Brentwood, and there was an astrologer who lived above me. She was really nice, and she did a chart for me, and she gave me an astrology book, and we chatted, and that was kind of like a weird. It was like these signs from the universe, kind of like teasing me, and I kind of like dabbled in there. I would like look at it, but I didn't think too much of it. And then fast forward, I would meet people. This was actually men primarily who would tell me like, "Are you into astrology?" And they would talk about it. And I remember meeting one. I would say a Masonic leader once, and he asked me, "What's your moon sign?" And I said, "I don't know." He said, "That's really important." And I was like, okay. So it was just all these things nudging me along to kind of like pique my interest. And at a certain point, I was kind of like trying to get answers. I kind of got deeper and deeper into it, and then I found out there was like these certain signatures of people, certain signatures that you can identify with people who have like spiritual ability, psychic ability, and things like that. And I'm like, and like I have those markers in my chart. And I went to see, and I think you would know her. It was a teacher, a mutual, possibly a teacher of ours.
Yep.
Not Colby. It was a different one. And she said that like I was very intuitive, like strongly intuitive myself. So it was just a gradual, like kind of like being pulled deeper and deeper into this like I guess quicksand. And I just at a certain point I decided to take a class with this person who I had a reading with, and it was just from then that point on, like I was like knee deep in this world. It was like, wow, this was amazing, and it was just like spectacular. But I would have to say it was kind of through astrology, and it was almost like me kind of discovering it myself. Nobody telling me that you need to go into this field, that you have these abilities. It was just really very, very kind of like an oblique way of entering this world.
But don't you think, because I have a similar experience, but I swear it's spirit led. Like I swear everything led me to that. Like it was like you. I don't know. Did you ever have any experience as a child? Because I didn't.
I don't recall any strange supernatural experiences. I would hear like everybody's route is different. You would hear some mediums who would say, "Oh, just strange things were happening in the house," and that it was just like I've had some pretty extraordinary experiences, but I would say that of those I remember, it happened like more in adult years, not
Yeah.
in my youth. I was just like a regular, like a kid, you know, enjoying my childhood.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was talking to dead people or anything like that. It was like that whole world was kind of like just, it wasn't something I was aware of at that point in time.
And how long ago was that for you? The astrology part?
The astrology part, I would say now, with my first entrance into this, I would say it's been probably not consistently, but like 10 years since I started delving into it. So
Okay.
it's been a good amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 6 years in, but no experience as a child and none of that. And I just feel like I was at the right place at the right time, and someone fed me a seed, you know, like the astrology book for you, like a seed that was planted, and it's like, woo. And then I remember someone saying in a reading that you didn't have to be special, because I thought you had to be special. I thought you had to have a gift, right? From, you know, I didn't know that everybody kind of has this underlying intuition. And so I remember when I learned that, I was like, oh, wow. And I just so happened to have seen like a store locally. Like, I just feel all the pieces kind of just dropped that led me to this whole experience. I just think, and I always say it was spirit led. I just feel like they're the ones who orchestrated it all to get me down this path. So I just feel like if you're meant to be, they kind of make it happen for you. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. It's you are led by these cookie crumbs, but at the same time, it's like you were already sort of predestined to follow this
think so
path.
too.
You already had that plan too, even before you were born. So it's just more like there was an agreement with your guides to like for them to kind of guide you either gently or like boldly along this path, grabbing you sometimes. So it's just the natural unfolding. And I want to mention this phrase that really clicked when I heard it recently, and this was from Spirit itself, is that everything happens in perfect synchronicity.
It does.
You know, so
it really, really does. You know, I think for me, I always had an entrepreneur spirit, always. So, you know, I was the person who had my full-time job did Herbalife, did Avon. I always had a side hustle, right? But I was never successful. And I would give up, right? Until I found my purpose and my passion. And I think that was mediumship. And so like 6 years ago, when this all started happening, I think that was the biggest deal. I knew it had to have been my purpose and plan because I never gave up. As hard as it was, and as much as I wanted to quit sometimes, I came back and I came back. And so I just think you'll know when it's your purpose and your path, when that's how it unfolds for you, right? When you keep getting resistance on other things you're doing, maybe that's not where you're supposed to be. So that's just my little nugget for everybody out there, just to get on your path.
I completely agree with that, because I've known a lot of other light workers or healers and people along this path where they had a lot of difficulty in other aspects of their life, career paths, and it was like an uphill struggle and a grind. So it's and then when they found their purpose and their soul calling, and then everything just kind of fell into place. It was really smooth. Doors would open, all kinds of opportunities happened. So it's a little bit tricky for people in this society where you know, there's always like pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. You got to work really hard, never give up. But then it's I don't know, it's very situational, because if something keeps blocking you over and over again and it's just not flowing, and there's some kind of resistance, or maybe it's also an intellectual thing where like your heart's not fully there, but your mind's all, you can't give up, and then you keep doing it, then it's likely not the right fit, because why would this keep happening over and over and over again?
Exactly.
I mean, if you were meant to be on this path, then there would be a little bit more ease and grace in terms of having things to manifest for you.
And someone told me once I started this path, they told me never always just say yes. For every opportunity that comes, just say yes. So that was a way for me to get out of my comfort zone. I'm just going to say yes and then freak out until I have to go do it, right? So I'm telling you, people, when you get on your path, doors will open for you, but it's going to be your choice to walk through them, right? So my suggestion to you is just say yes to everything. Say yes.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree. I agree with that. But yeah, it's kind of like what what we're told as like young mediums, that if there's like an opportunity to practice your mediumship, and for a lot of people,
Yeah.
it's terrifying in the beginning.
Terrifying. It's
You just
scary.
accept. You step up to the plate. You accept, no matter how terrified, how uncomfortable you feel, and after a while, it's like that like layer that insecurity just falls to the floor, and it gets easier and easier, and it's almost like spirit just kind of rewards you in some sense, and so yeah, you definitely want to just look at it as sort of like, especially in this field, as more like not you, but you're providing a service, spiritual service, and it makes it a lot easier. So I know from like one of these sayings, and like in that mediums would say, is like, don't be nervous, be of service.
Oh, I've never heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you got to do platform, and there's like 100 people there. Don't focus on yourself, it's just change your focus. And then suddenly it's like the nervousness and the terror goes away, and you're just like, yeah, I'm in the flow.
Yeah.
You're just rerouting your focus,
Yeah. I remember in the beginning, I used to be so nervous getting up in front of people. I would be shaking. My voice would shake. And our mutual mentor, our mutual teacher would get so upset. Like, you sound so nervous. Stop. I'm like, I can't. I'm so nervous, but it's getting easier.
I know. Well, I mean, I know who you're talking about. It's like, what is she talking about? Because she would be like having to run to the restroom beforehand.
Exactly. So she's nervous too.
She was just like, I don't want to have an accident on stage. That's what's going through my mind. So, I don't want to get into the details here, but it was really funny. It's like,
yeah, and that's why I tell people, this isn't easy. It was a hard path, right? And so there's been, and now we'll talk about this, the amount of work and investment we put into it. It's not like I woke up one day and hung a shingle out and said, I'm a medium. Here, let's go. So let's talk about that. How much training have you had? Let's talk about your training and how important is it to go through that?
Yes, definitely. I want people to understand that it takes a lot of training and persistence and practice to get where we are. There are some people who are maybe untrained in this area, but I don't see that nowadays. There has to be also training in terms of like ethics and how you communicate to clients, what client expectations are. It's more like the technical aspects, how to interface with people, and what to say, what not to say. And those things aren't necessarily people get right away sometimes. And then also I do see people who are very strongly intuitive, but are almost like a little bit like a loose cannon, in that they can't harness it towards a specific end. There's maybe a lot of raw talent. So it's almost like similar. It reminds me of somebody I knew who was actually a producer. He would say, real actors don't have to get any training. I mean, look at somebody like Johnny Depp. Okay. And it's like, I don't agree with that, because you have so many like people who are acclaimed, who've won like Oscars and all these awards, who went through rigorous school, like acting school and drama school and all that. So I would say the majority of people have to put a lot of hard work into it, even if they have a lot of raw talent in it. So in terms of my case, I've taken a lot of training with a lot of the top teachers in the US and in England, a lot of teachers connected to Arthur Findlay, the British School of Mediumship, a lot of known teachers in the Los Angeles area. I've also been certified as an advanced spiritual advisor with the Lisa Williams School of Spiritual Development, like similar to Tracy. And also I would say that though what's really interesting is I've already had this an innate kind of understanding of astrology, and this was something that preceded my actual training in the psychic mediumship. So it was almost like
To help, you
I
think?
so it was almost like a sort of like being self-taught. It was a
Okay.
language I already knew.
Yeah.
And I already know this also from a previous lifetime of having studied astrology myself. So it feels like it's just natural to me in this lifetime.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's like a lot of the stuff I've done in previous lifetimes, but in this one, it's almost like trying, I guess maybe in a way, like remembering. That's what somebody told me up here. You're just remembering a lot of that. But I feel like I'm also, as always, trying to evolve and push it to the next level.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
because a lot of the people within this sphere of work, this is not necessarily new, like completely new. For some people, it is. You know, if you
Yeah.
yeah, if you understand like a lot of talents that people have also been developing that over many lifetimes,
Yeah.
and that's often the case.
Ah, yeah, that's so
Well,
true. Through your 10 years experience, like diving in and delving in, anything scary?
Anything scary? I wouldn't say scary because for me specifically, I know some people who are just, I would say, people not exposed to this world, who are
Yeah.
terrified of it, the thought of ghosts and spirits.
Yeah.
And they just don't want to have anything to do with it, even if they had some intuitive abilities. And some people just have that. I've never been scared of this world. I know there is, you know, in this dualistic world, there's like a dark
And
side
light.
to things, dark and light. But I was like, never, I just thought this was like really fascinating and really thrilling. It's just
See?
like this world itself. So I
I had the
wouldn't
same
say,
experience. Yeah.
yeah. So in terms of scary, it's just more having to deal with, like, in the beginning at least, with like audiences
Yeah.
and people, and doing it in front of like another person.
So it's
Just
not a spirit scary, it's an internal scary.
yeah, internal scary. Like
Yeah.
having to like your first reading, professional
Yeah.
reading, or like having to read somebody, and you're just like that. I was like all butterflies, you know what I mean? It was like I just remember I had never done full like hour reading. I had practiced maybe like 30 minutes and things like that. And then all of a sudden I get a client who just all of a sudden signed up. It was like a full
Hour.
full hour. And I'm thinking to my man, what am I going to talk about? Like
For a whole
oh my
hour.
God, for
It's
an hour.
difficult.
That was yeah, it was difficult. And like, yeah, so that is the scariest part of it, I would say.
I have to agree. That's the
well,
scariest.
I've got so one of the things that I think is kind of interesting is when we talk about this, the quote unquote scary.
Yeah.
I think that when I came more into the mediumship side
Yeah.
of things, you kind of get away from a lot of the conversations that where people tend to bring up the scarier
Stuff.
the dark entities and things like that. I feel like
Yeah.
the more I kind of started working with Tracy and you know, one of our mentors and things
Yep.
like that, it's like you just work with people who are a bit more maybe grounded, a little bit more down, where you just don't get the conversations around the
Around
scary
that part. Yeah.
as much. Or if somebody is talking about the scary, then it's kind of like it's more of, well, if the person was a grumpy person, then they're kind of going to show up as a grumpy ghost. Like, where, you know, it's more of just kind of like, I mean, just take normal everyday things and apply it to the spirit world.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, I just noticed that as I spent more and more time around people who deal just in the mediumship lane,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of get away from some of the conversations that are more of that, and I like where they are talking about the darker things and the darker energies and the portals and I am one of those people. I'm like, give me some good rituals, give me some good witchcraft, give me the sigils, give me the magic. elemental energies, dragon energies, give me all of that. But I do like the balance of having, of kind of keeping that groundedness.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just do dead people. Psh, that's it. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
That's all I
Let's do
do.
So that was my 2 cents on that. So.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, in my 6 years, I've never had a bad experience. And anytime I tell, it's so weird. I don't know about you. When I first started this journey, I could tell anybody I was super excited. I was excited that I could do this. Now I'm a little bit more reserved. I don't go out blasting it when I first meet people. I don't say anything, but the consensus is that people are so scared of it. And so I just want to say I've been doing this 6 years and nothing scary has ever happened. Now, there are things that may happen that scare you, but that doesn't make it scary. Does that make sense? Right?
Yes.
It's your world perception, and it's what we've been taught and what's been, but nothing really scary has ever happened for me. So I like to ask my guests that because I want someone to tell me something scary.
Yeah. I just also want to add, like, in this spiritual community, like talking, it's yeah, it is interesting. It's like talking about like the dark side of stuff with spirit. It's almost and I've heard before, like a bit taboo to talk
Mhm.
about those things, I've noticed. And it's like everything seems to be about love and light,
Mhm.
which is good. So it's like the focus is there because I guess it's like trying not to bring that kind of negative energy, and especially to a field where some beginning students or people getting into it can be scared. So it takes away that sinister or supernatural or like the those aspects to something that is very strange for a lot of people in the beginning. I haven't found a lot of, actually, in my experience, I guess I don't I don't have the opportunity to tell people a lot that I'm a medium, or it never comes up. And when I do,
Mhm.
it's or when I do this stuff, because I more introduce myself as like the hybrid, like an astrologer and like an intuitive,
Okay.
but people are more like fascinated. And
Yeah.
so I guess, yeah, I guess I tend to attract or be around people who are just like interested to learn about it or like intrigued.
And maybe where you
Um,
live too. Very
yeah.
open.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, this is, yeah, that's, you're right. You're right.
Texas is the
The
Bible
West
Belt.
Coast.
North Carolina is very conservative where I live. Like people get freaked out.
Oh yeah, you're 100% right. West Coast, everybody, like the average person can talk about astrology, and less so with the East Coast feels to me more like, and I perceive this to be true, a little bit more like the mediumship heavy.
It
But
is.
over here, it's like very focused a lot on astrology and like psychic. Those are
Ah,
more popular on this side. But I
is
feel
it?
like astrology is now becoming more like pretty mainstream now.
Yeah.
But you just see the kind of regional differences, you know.
You do. You do. Like I've noticed, I have a friend who was in Texas, but she was from like Maryland and she just moved back. But she did a gallery with over 200 people that showed up. And I just asked, and I was in Richmond, I was in Virginia over Christmas time doing some things, and it was easy to fill class. It was just easy. And I was like thinking, why is it so easy over here? And I think there's just more influence on spiritualist churches and things up the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch more. There's a lot of trance mediumship up the East
Mhm.
Coast as well. So it
Yeah.
is very regional. I find that very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and also because the East Coast, yeah, with the spiritualist churches, it's
Mhm.
closer to Europe and to
You have
England
Lilydale up
especially.
there, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I think on the East Coast, there's only the Journey Within, that only one spiritualist church in New Jersey. I
Yeah.
don't think we
A
have
Journey
more.
Within or something like that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So it's very much like you already know, it's like NYC, New York. It's like there's more of an influence of Europe, especially when you look at like it's one of the fashion capitals, and it's considered a more like sophisticated city. So and it's also in very much in close proximity to Europe. So it
Yeah.
all kind of makes sense. So yeah, all the way over here in the West Coast, we're just kind of like the outliers. We're
It's
just
crazy.
the weirdos, I guess, over here.
I was going to try and do like an event back in my hometown. So I'm from El Paso, Texas. Like the town at the very corner up there, right? And can't make it happen because it's so Catholic, right? And everybody is so scared. it's just so interesting. Yeah, it is. It's very regional. So I have to plot my stuff out. So
Yeah. And then also there's also a little bit of a parallel to like ideological differences and like and a little bit of of the politics as well. So
true. Yeah.
everything is kind of like interrelated in some way in terms of where people live and what they believe in. So it's interesting.
I have it's part of my new segment on the show. Hi, Maria. Hi, Amberly. Hi, Lotus. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Jackie. Hi, everybody. Everybody who's watching, just want to say hi to everybody. I've been doing podcasts now too. So I've been making my rounds. I don't know if you've done a lot lately, but they always ask me these weird questions, and I'm going to start writing them all down. I'm going to ask you because they're this good conversation pieces. It's exciting. Are you ready? I got two.
I hope so.
Yeah. Right. And trust me, there's no wrong answer. Trust me. But all right. First question. We're going to have fun with it. And Cassie, I'm going to ask you too. So be ready. All right. Because let's have some fun.
Okay.
Because dead people can get kind of sad. Hi, Whitney. Hi. All right. Here's the question. If you were asked to come into a 5th grade class for career day and explain what you do, how would you explain that to a class of 5th graders?
Interesting. So I would say that I do spiritual work. This is all spiritual work, and that I work with energy.
Okay.
And I would also define that everything in this universe is made of energy, even on a particle level, like everything you see. And so I would just talk about like the aspects of the soul, just to basically situate like the understanding of what it is I do, because astrologers, psychics, mediums, they're healers, they're all working with energy at a fundamental level. We're interpreting that. So, and then I would talk about myself as an astrologer, and I looking at charts, people's natal charts, and a lot of different things can have charts. Country, the birth of a country can have charts. Events can have a chart. And I interpret that to get information on the chosen, either the person or that event, to get deeper information about it. And then also talking about what I do is helping people.
There you go. Yeah.
It's a form of spiritual service to help people get answers in life, to feel better about themselves, to get just deeper questions about why they're here and why things have happened in their life. And it's a very, very noble type of work.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's not scary, or it's not dealing with superstition. This is all spiritual work of the highest caliber.
There you go. Now, if I would have said all that in Texas, they would have a lynch mob after me. And the principal would be called. So it was a really difficult question in the Texas role because of the Bible Belt, right? So I had to answer it on the whole thing about entrepreneurship, leave spiritual out of it, because God forbid you bring church into the school. But anyway, yeah, it was a difficult question for me. Go, Cassie, what would you say?
So because I have kind of settled into a little different take on being able to use my spiritual gifts to help people, I really use it through my graphics and through helping a client develop their websites and really bring their ideas to life. For example, I had I sometimes get clients and they'll send me some images and be like, I want a sparkly, a glittery, sparkly feather along with this, along with a triangle, along with an angel, along with this. And I kind of have to sit with all these different elements that the client wants incorporated.
Yep.
And kind of and
you have to go in intuitively, don't you?
Huh?
Do you have to do intuition when you're working with? Yeah.
Like sometimes there are times where I'll be working on somebody's logo and I'll be like, look, this is just going to take a couple extra days for me to kind of get in the right space to develop to develop what the client really wants, because then when I really sit with it and then I'm able to draw it out, then I take the image to the client and the client's like, wow, all the things. There's always going to be those tweaks, there's always going to be those edits, but to really kind of just sit with, okay, what if I'm taking all these different elements, how do I bring them together in a way that really brings this idea to life, and really pulls it in. And one of the things I get a lot, especially with the logos that I design for people and the graphics, is that what people tell me is that a lot of them have a lot of depth to them. It's almost like you're kind of looking into a 3D world and things like that. And so when, and I do have the clients that, are like, I just want my name. and we can totally do those too. But especially the ones that are kind of wanting all these aspects really developed into that, it's taking those ideas, sitting with them, intuitively picking up what is going to make that client go, wow, you got me, you figured me out, this was what I wanted, and really help them bring through those ideas, and not just with the logo, but then, mimicked in their websites, their graphics, everything else that follows. And so I feel like I've kind of settled in as being able to use my intuitive gifts in a way that
you found a niche. Basically.
Yeah, I found a niche. I found my niche.
Based on what you went to school for. So that's just amazing, right?
Yeah.
Because you get to work with amazing people. You get to use your intuition still, and you get to be creative. So doing what you love.
The creative work, as you were talking, it's almost like it's involving the same side of the brain as like the strict intuitive work. It's, I think, right-brained work, right?
Yep.
Actually, with creativity, you have to be very intuitive to figure out, like, there's just so many neurons firing when you're doing that work. It's hard to really dissect that. It's like figuring out a solution, creating visuals that really speak to you, fulfilling the needs of the client, all these various factors that come into this like brew. But it's very much intuitive work. I'm just realizing that. But what's really interesting with what I do with the astrology side is actually like left and right brained.
Is it?
I do have a strong like left brain as well. So
there's science behind it, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of science and analysis and technical aspects to it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit strange because sometimes I kind of have to with the psychic astrology, I fuse both aspects of it, right?
Okay.
The left and the right. But like when you go into like the psychic and mediumship, that's completely one side of the brain, and then you have to completely take out the rational side of it, of which I have a strong, which is pretty strong in me too. So it's been really interesting working both heavily. So it's not, I don't feel it's something that people tend to be weighed more towards one or the other, but I feel like I have a lot in each aspect, because I have been told once before, like way back, you're too logical. I've been told that before. Way back. But now that's a different case. I feel like I've always had that strong like intuitive, like emotional side, but I do that's real logical side as well, you know,
Yeah.
the skeptic there.
I'm the same. I'm very analytical. I'm very business. I'm very, that's why I liked mediumship, because I could prove what I was doing.
I'm probably more of the emotional right person here. But one of the things that I will say, it's really interesting. If I go to sit down and work on any of this design work for a client, there are times where I will just sit down and be like, I have a blank slate. I have no idea what to do. And usually it's because the client doesn't know.
They don't have a starting point.
Because usually if the client has some idea, even if they're struggling to put it into words or in images, if the client's like, hey, just come up with anything you want, because anything's going to be great. I'm like, I got nothing. I got nothing for you.
That's not like someone coming to me for a psychic. Whatever you get. I was like, give me somewhere to start. What do you want? Give me somewhere.
So that really has had to kind of become part of my process of finding that. Give me a starting place. Give me a direction to run in. Because when I have that, when I at least have, it can be any direction you want, but as long as I have that direction to run and take it in, then it's like, okay, everything else flows around it. Everything else comes together. All the pieces just come in and work.
Nice.
Yeah, that is true, because that reminds me of, like, I also have like a design background as well. And like, I remember reading way back about this process of creativity. Creativity works best when there's a information, or there's a discovery phase where you can actually immerse your mind with the problem at hand that needs to be solved, and you have a little bit of some restrictions, and that allows you to create creative solutions around some of those I guess defining aspects to the project. So you really need to so it's about asking the right questions, I will say that.
Exactly.
And then it'll be much easier to be creative, you know. When it's like, just do anything you want, that's crazy. That's just asking too much. It's almost like similar with like with this intuitive work to some degree, because it's not, I know for a lot of readings, you just, well, at least for me, like not given, and I know this might be true for you, Tracy, where like you don't really come in with preconceptions, and you're just kind of led to what you need to talk about with the client. But at the same time, there's an element of focus there. It doesn't matter if you're doing, also in exercises in class, if you have a specific exercise, for example, look into somebody's family situation right now, you have an element of focus, the target, and that just on an energetic level, on a quantum level, you're just focusing, honing in on that psychically, and that allows you to get the answers and be more precise. Intention, right? Intention is,
and it is intention. Most people will come to a reading knowing exactly what they want to hear, but they won't say anything. They say, whatever you get. So whatever I get, you're probably getting a skim of everything I'm getting instead of a deep dive into what you really want. Like, just tell me what you want, and we'll dive in.
That's what I know. But sometimes
it costs you double because you're going to come back.
But sometimes I'm sure you've been able to kind of like pick up on that too as well.
Like sometimes before a call, I already know, oh, they just went through a breakup. I already feel it. I feel the energy, right? So sometimes that will happen too. But sometimes people just come on and say whatever, but you know that they have in the back of their head, they're waiting for that thing to come out. You can feel it. I'm like, oh, just tell me. Give me a
That's why I usually save like
you want to hear.
I know. That's why I usually save like the last 10 minutes for reading. We're like, is there any questions we have, or anything else I need to cover? You know, just in case. That was
just in case.
Right? Like that burning question that needs to be answered. You know, now or never. No.
They'll come back and they'll be like. They'll say, I don't care. And so if they say, I don't care, I'll go mediumship because that's what I love. And then at the end, I remember I had to give someone a refund because she told me, but you didn't tell me any guidance about my life because you told me to come up with whatever. And I'm going to go mediumship. You booked with a medium corely. I'm a medium at core. I'm going to go mediumship. So I talked about her dad. I gave all this evidence.
Yeah.
But that's not what she wanted. She wanted psychic, right? And wanted to know what was going on with her family's current situation. Wasn't say that. Anyway, just digressing a little bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess in that case, that's more on the client, because you did ask them.
I did
what they
ask.
wanted.
I ask every client in the beginning, this is your money and your time. What are you hoping for? Because I want to give you what you want. If you just throw it up in the air and whatever falls, then you have to be okay with whatever falls, right?
Mhm.
Anyway, there is a exercise I want us to do, because there's someone who asked a question. Do you guys have pen and paper in front of you?
Yes. I'm dealing with one of our spammers, though.
Okay, that's fine.
We have somebody spamming our thing. We, just so you know, that we do not, anyone who comes onto our feed, we do not
spit it out.
Words right now. Sorry, my brain is trying to do two things at once. It doesn't work. Basically, if somebody comes in and starts asking you for your information like that, saying that, you know, DM me and I will give you a reading, that is unethical behavior, and we do not condone it here on our channel.
And don't buy into it. They're just trying to scam you for money. But I do have this. So Lotus Siren says, I wanted to know 2 questions. So we're just going to say yes and no, write it down. Question number 1, yes or no. Will I pass the Series 7 exam on the 17th of the month? Yes or no. And write it down. And then the second question, will I pass the Series 63 2 weeks later? Yes or no. Write it down. And I wrote my answers down, and we're just going to compare. This is psychic work. Tell me when you're ready.
Okay.
Got it? Cass, you want to play?
Yes.
You got it?
Yep.
You do? All right. So for number 1, will this person pass the Series 7 exam on the 17th? What did you guys say? I said yes.
I said yes.
I said yes.
Okay. And then the Series 63 2 weeks later. I said no.
I said no.
I put down iffy.
Okay.
It's like the energy just kind of
went flat for me
Yeah,
too.
flat.
So there you go. You need to study more for the second one. All right. All right. Next question.
Yeah, 63 weeks.
Huh?
Or you got, sorry.
You got 2 weeks of studying.
2 extra weeks of studying.
You got time on your hands.
Yes, you may add your question.
Can I add my question here? Yeah, ask a question. We'll answer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Questions are always welcome.
Yeah. In the meantime, let me give you guys your next question. Ready? This is the second weirdest question I ever had on a podcast. If you had to equate what you do with a food item, what food would it be and why?
Okay. Food item. Food item.
Strangest question.
Well, I was thinking of something, a food item that is not entirely concrete.
It's okay.
Like not like a hard substance. I was trying to think of something that's kind of like a little bit hazy or nebulous. I guess the closest thing, and there's a lot of associations with this work with like the water element.
Yep. Yeah.
So I would say like a glass, I would say maybe specifically, and it sounds kind of basic here, but like a glass of water half full.
Okay.
It's almost like, because this, you know how it's said that do you see the water as being half full or half empty?
Yep.
So I feel like this work itself is very very hard to pin down. There's a lot of questions as you go through it. It's very much dealing with like the spiritual nature of the universe itself. I mean, as you go along and do the work, and it's almost water itself is a very intuitive medium.
Yep.
And it's changes and moves, and it's always shifting. So what I'm trying to say is like water can also become a gas, so it's become very nebulous. So this work is very much hard to pin down, ever shifting, not always different whenever you do readings or when you tune into people and the information you get and how you evolve. So I'd have to say it's very much like that. What are you seeing specifically? And it's also based on perception. Are you seeing it half full or half empty? Is it like
really good answers off the cuff, by the way?
Yeah. It's just I want to say, are you here or there?
Yeah.
Are you neither here nor there? It's just weird. It's kind of like a mind trip itself, this work. And then also like you can be very much on top of it, and then suddenly energetically you're not feeling it. It happens every once in a while. So it's just nebulous, you know?
Nebulous. Love that. I love it. Cassie, what's your food group item?
I started laughing when you asked, because there was a scene from Shrek that popped into my head. Where it's like the donkey and the ogre, and they're talking about how like ogres have layers. So so what I do has a lot of layers to it. So I guess you could say any food item that has layers to it. In Shrek they mentioned onions, or parfaits, or layered cakes, whatever.
It's funny because Brittany, our moderator, said 7-layer salad.
There you go.
Right? It's a 7-layer salad.
I feel like there are a lot of layers to what I do. And I'm always trying to look to see what I can do better, and to something that I was actually talking to a class from one of my clients, and we were talking to her students about how the importance of having really, if you're going to do this work and really do it and put yourself out there, it's important to have that professional feel and look and be out there. And so one of the things that we talked about was or I guess one of the things that I mentioned, it's like, if I learn something as I go along in my business, and it's something that could help speed up your website, or it's something that could help all of my clients across the board. Simply, it's like, by being my client, you get that upgrade. I'm going to go, even if it's something that I haven't touched in a while, I'm going to go back and apply it across every person that's working with me, because I want my clients to succeed in the most best and possible way that they can. And so as I'm learning and growing and finding out new things about what I'm doing, because technology is always growing, learning, and changing, I'm going to take that knowledge and information and use it to assist everybody else.
Cool.
Yeah.
You want to know what my food runs?
Yeah, I do.
I said spaghetti. Because we're all a bunch of noodles. That's why. People think we're noodles. Anyway, I said spaghetti, and we're all trying to be the meatball and the meatball spirit.
Yes. And we do have one question here or I guess it's a couple questions that have come up, but it's by the same person. I just want to address it.
Yeah, there's 3 questions from her, but I want to ask a question before that.
Okay.
Does anybody know a medical medium? Because that's what she really needs, is a medical medium. We're going to attempt it. But I know her, and we're in discussions on a sidebar. But anybody know a medical medium in the field?
I do.
Yeah, why don't we pop a name if you can find a name and just tell we're going to put that in the comments later that maybe we can point you to someone who actually specializes in the medical piece of it. We'll answer too, but just because I know how scared you are, I think you should probably get in touch with a medical medium. Okay.
Yeah.
So otherwise, everybody can go look. Hi, Ileana? Is that how you say your name? I forgot. So she's having spinal surgery. She's having some really, really bad symptoms. She's lost a lot of weight. And so it's coming up on the 23rd. She's asking, will she recover and heal afterwards? And what time frame for that healing after surgery? When she says about healing, she means when she won't have any more symptoms. And it's pretty bad, y'all. Like, I think her stay in the hospital will be significant. It's not an in and out thing. So it's a significant, just to give you some feedback, it's pretty significant what's going on with her. But yeah, Cassie, if after the show you can pop in a referral to a medical medium, I think that would be good for her too. I don't know one. I remember one when we did that expo, but I don't remember her name. With Light Language University, the lady who was sitting next in the panel, one of them was a medical medium. I just don't remember her name.
Yeah, I'll get in touch with Anna.
Okay.
Yeah, and ask.
So her brainstem is being compressed, right? So a lot of symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
The surgeries, you're going to have it. There's no way, no, you have to have it, right? So, and I think you'll be glad that you did, even if the recovery is hard, right? I think you're going to have instant results. It's going to take time for the nerves to heal and to get back. But I really do think some of the pain will be gone like instantly and you'll feel so much better, right? But I still think it's going to take about 4 months to come out of it completely. That's kind of the time frame I'm getting. But you'll notice a difference right away. But I'm not saying you're out of the woods. It's still going to take time, right? So, and anybody else get anything with that?
I felt like something similar as well. My first impression when I just saw the question was that this was really serious, and that the recovery time would be very, I would say, intense. It's not instantaneous. That it would be a while. I just feel like, not to scare Ileana, but it just feels like it's going to be intense recovery afterwards. And I feel like the recovery time, in terms of the way she would feel, it would feel like it would persist for a while. And get a specific date, but it feels like at least a month, 2 months. And that I do feel that there might be some just to watch out for some lingering things, lingering feelings afterwards. I don't feel like it might take a while to get to that point, but where it's just like, oh, I'm just perfectly dandy now, like all patched up. I just feel like there's maybe some side effects and certain things to deal with afterwards. But I feel that it's overall much needed, and it'll be really, really helpful for her. So,
like, even you're walking, it just may take time because the nerves are damaged, right? So if the spinal cord's being compressed, your nerves are getting damaged. And when that happens, they're going to go relieve the pressure. But I think it just takes time for the nerves to heal. So you may have like nerve pain. I keep hearing like electric shock kind of stuff, but don't worry. I think you're going to come out of it. And just through like physical therapy, you'll be able to walk again, not a problem. So I think it's really positive. Just one day at a time, right?
I would say with that, just know that if it starts, because what Tracy is describing, as the pressure gets relieved on the nerves and the nerves have a chance to heal, there may be a feeling of where it almost feels like it's getting a little bit worse before it gets better. But it's because all those nerves that have been damaged or are now having a chance to start firing and working the way that they should be working, and they haven't been working that way for a while. And so you may actually start feeling a little bit more pain as they're starting to heal.
Yeah.
But don't let that discourage you because it's just all it is those nerves just waking up.
Yeah.
Waking up and starting to get their functioning, start to function properly again. And once they get to the point where they're functioning properly again, then that's where you're going to start feeling the relief.
Yeah. And I do feel like you're going to get back to normal. Don't worry. It's just going to take some time, right? You've got a lot of damage in there. And then you can do your own work. There's like healing meditations you can do yourself. Look up theta healing, where you can actually kind of go in and heal your own cells and things like that. So do your part, let the medical profession do their part, and I think it'll be okay. Yeah. Okay.
So.
Yay. Well, we're at the bottom of the hour. It's already 8:01. Angel, where can people find you?
Yes, on angeldawn.com. That's ANGELDAWN.com.
Yeah, and Brittany, she piped in too. Brittany said 4 to 6 months, rough road, some relief right away, things will work out. So Brittany's my moderator, and she's also a medium too, but she's handling TikTok at the moment. Hello, Sandra. Hello, Ward. Hello, everybody. And unfortunately, today we weren't doing readings. We wanted to talk. We want to talk all day, but we'll be back next time, and we'll do some readings next time. But with that, Cassie, where can people find you?
All right. Everybody can find me at Stargazers Unite, stargazers.unite, across all social media platforms. That's me. Tracy, how about you?
Yeah, everybody can find me at the Red Couch Medium on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, and on my website, theredcouchmedium.com. And if you're looking for a reading, you can book directly on my website. Yeah, look forward to it. But till next time, everybody, y'all have a great night. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for